coming in your front door, Ray peeping in your drapes, Rob in the back of the kitchen trying to make a plate. Chief Hall Podcast right now. CU lost, man. Colorado lost. And I want to talk about a lot of pros and cons because I think it was necessary. I think it was a wake-up call. I think it was just something that Deion Sanders already knew, but it had to play itself out so he could really start to feel out what he got. And the players needed to know what's really at stake and what they was coming up against. So I believe it's good. So we're going to talk about the Colorado loss. We're going to also mention some of the historic things that happened on Sunday. And, of course, now we find out that this is National Suicide Month, and we got some things that we want to probably talk a little bit about that. But we're going to jump right in there with Ray taking his notes over there. And Ray, Colorado lost. So what you feeling about that?
Hey, man, I think a lot of people felt a little emotional about it. But let me say first, why I got to be peeping in the drapes?
It just fit.
All right. No worries, man. But I think like everyone, man, we want to see people try to make it seem like it's a black thing, man, but it's not really that. We like the confidence of Deion. We want to see him win, and we want to see that team win. And he grabbed a group of hungry young men that want to play. They just got outplayed. And like Deion said, man, it was a good old-fashioned butt kicking. That's all. So he's honest. He's been honest with his players all this time. And he's been honest with even the media or who he is. So why should we be shocked?
It is what it is. They lost, and he's accepting that loss, and he's a man about it. Point blank, period. And then at the end of the day, a lot of those coaches, they hate us. Point blank.
I think Ray said, should we be surprised? Coaches know what they got. Good coaches know what their personnel is. Deion said a long time ago that for a while he wouldn't be ready for the Alabamas and the Auburns because he knew that he was going to need them big boys up front. And they got exposed with that. They got a lot of speed. But they're undersized for that when you start to talk about championship football. They undersized. Deion knew that. The coaching staff knew that. A lot of people get so emotional and they want to support him so bad they can't understand why they lost or they take it differently. But Deion knew. That's why he can go in the press conference and say we got a good old-fashioned butt kick.
They were outplayed, but I wonder right now, watching his son, man, great talent, but he looked shook.
You would be too, because he had no protection.
Yeah, I mean, they were coming at him, man, and I guess, I always equated to this, I tell my kids when we're talking about football, when Cam Newton a long time ago, they were pumping him up as the best thing in football, and he was a great quarterback. And then what happened? And then he got into the Super Bowl on the main stage, and I think Von Miller and them guys, just went and got a good sack on him in the end zone, and that was it.
Changed the game.
It changed the whole vibe of the game.
They always say that everybody got a plan until they get hit in the mouth. And Shedeur was he was hurried, pressured, and it was just a matter of time. Like I said, the coaches knew.
Yeah,
they were getting by the skin of their teeth, and they knew that. But they got exposed, and this week is going to could be an even worse whooping with USC. But the guys know really what they expect now. Now you don't have to tell them that these guys bigger, these guys strong. These guys, most of them guys, they got a lot of guys out of transfer portal. Don't get me wrong. So they played against those that caliber player. But the star players came over from Jackson State, a smaller school. They really ain't had that type of competition. Yeah. There were some big boys when you start talking about championship football. Oregon, USC, them schools there. You talking about a lot that they had to deal with the speed along with the size. But of that whole program is Deion Sanders, and he keeps them ready to play. And as long as he does that, you don't have to worry about those kids because they're going to still play hard no matter what's the situation. They're going to try their best. Now, Rob was taking off that hat, and but we got a historic Sunday, and I'll just say a little bit about what happened on the Colts side. something else happened with the Indianapolis Colts where their kicker, he was the first kicker ever to kick 4 50-yard plus field goals.
That's right.
In one game. That's a big feat.
Clutch, man. Clutch.
Yeah, but we're not gonna spend a lot of time on the Colts. You know, y'all go ahead on and run along in the meadows. We're not worried about that. Let's talk about this ocean and these dolphins that be in that ocean.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team.
Greatest football team. Now, I'm the only one in here born in '72. And that's the year, 71, 72, that's the year that the Dolphins went undefeated. And matter of fact, we have as a family, one of the things that we have as a family is that 1972 program with all of the Dolphins in it and everything like that. It's in good condition too. It's up in the box.
Yeah.
But we don't.
You weren't sitting around watching TV though.
Yeah, I was on the floor.
You on the floor. You weren't doing that. You
I was a little baby.
You didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. I knew what was going on. Who your favorite player? Hey, Rob, you know what? Pay the man.
Big Cuts Barbershop. Appointments and walk-ins are welcome. Open 7 days a week. Take advantage of the special promotion we have going on. $25 haircuts from Monday through Wednesday. Yep, you heard right. $25 haircuts. Location, you can find us at 18405 Miramar Parkway. I'll also give you the Instagram. The Instagram is BigCuts_Miramar.
Yeah, I think there's an unwritten rule, if I'm not mistaken, in the NFL that where they all talk about, you know, making sure you stay classy, not embarrassing another team. That's why at the end of the game, sometimes they don't try to run a play if the time is at a certain level. They just go head on and take the knee. Sometimes they get into them fights when the game is real tense. They hit up and they get into it. But I think it's an unwritten rule where they talk about it and it's not public, but they watch out for that and try to stay classy. They call it being classy and having class.
I respect that.
And doing it a certain way so that it doesn't embarrass or make anybody feel less than or whatever. So they got a philosophy.
I respect that, but here's the thing. I respect that, but let's talk about records because that's what we were talking about. We're talking about records. Like the Dolphins could have punted. I mean, field goal, straight in, 3 points. We would have had another record. And records are records. It doesn't matter, you know. You got quarterbacks out there making good records. Dan Marino had all the records for a long time, and then you got quarterbacks that come along later and they take over the record. You know, records are made to be broken.
Like that 72 Dolphins.
Yes, sir. So yeah, I believe. Look, I don't think it's. I think it's classy that, you know, they took the foot off the neck kind of thing, but I think, and I don't want to make that reference, but what I do want to say is I feel that they should have just go for the points and then go hug the team later after.
Yeah, I think it would have been good for both teams to be a part of that record.
Part of history.
Yeah, both teams, both guys, they would have said, "Look, I was on that day. The Dolphins scored all those points on us, and that just wasn't our day, son. That just wasn't our day." But I think it wouldn't have been classless if they would have kicked the field goal.
No, and I talked to some people who were at the game, man, and they said to me they were all chanting, "Go for the three, go for three, go for three." They were all chanting.
Go for three. Yeah, and I can understand what they were saying by go for three. And it's just one of those things that we want to look at. You know, I want to kind of turn over a little bit, and I just want to throw this out there and see what you guys, how you feel about it. You know, I'm hearing a lot of stuff about body count, and it doesn't matter where a woman's been. Is that important? Does it matter where a man's been in order to be in a relationship? Because there's some statistics about this. You know, when it comes to being successful in a relationship. But does it matter to you the promiscuity of a woman that you're interested in? Does that matter, Rob? But does that matter?
I mean, of course that matters.
Because how you going to... Okay, now why you say it matters? I don't want to give you what I was going to say because you're nosy.
I mean, it matters because... I mean,
because she's never going to really tell you. So
Yeah.
I mean, my thing is visible. If there's any visible, if a girl got 5 kids from 4 different guys, that's a problem for me and her to ever have a really good relationship. It's not impossible, but it's a problem. It's visible evidence of her promiscuity.
You gotta be careful with that one because you'll have arguments with women and a lot of people.
That's okay. We can have arguments, but we're talking about successful relationship because there's a psychological aspect of it that takes effect.
You just got to make sure.
She probably never learned how to be in relationships. And she probably
I believe that. But you just got to make sure you differentiate the whole thing of women that had kids with a man hoping to be in a relationship with a man and that didn't work out and then she got into another relationship.
That's a husband and a wife.
Husband and a wife.
All right,
that's
so
different
that's
than a girl that's out here sleeping with 20 different men, 30 different men
that was
in
my
1
example.
year.
That was my example.
Okay, yeah, that's different.
That's why I said promiscuity. Yeah, it's different. I mean, it's not. I mean, you may be able to look at a woman that has kids and say, "Well, she was married before." I understand. She was that caliber woman.
And the argument
that gives her some credibility.
The argument that women have sometimes go, "Well, what men do the same thing?" But the thing is that even Houdini said back in the day, one of my favorite rap groups said, "Look, I'm a hoe. I'm a hoe." So at the end of the day, men could be hoes too.
Well, listen, a woman cannot do what a man do in terms of that, because a man is looked at as being a player.
Yeah.
A woman is looked at as being a hoe.
And women
right?
say that's a double standard.
Of course it is.
Yeah. Of course
it is definitely a double standard.
But look, if we go
way
back,
classy woman. We want a classy woman.
We go way back, man, and it's important that we don't take out the spiritual side of it and
exactly
what's important. A man. It was a really good thing to get a virgin. That's all that mattered. When you was talking about biblical time and all that, when they wanted a virgin, they was not going to deal with a woman. And we're the only country. And over there in different countries, we're pretty much the only country that this is that big of an issue where we arguing and making a case for a woman that has made the wrong decisions and have been been out there doing these things promiscuous and we're the only country that make that excuse and support. Yeah. I mean, when we were younger it was different.
Yeah. I've heard some women out there say, look, and we believe this, everyone has a past. So, we understand that God doesn't care about your past. He cares about you now, what you're doing now. But the sad thing is that when a woman gets herself in that position and people find out or realize that she was that, then it's kind of hard for them to get it out of their mind. So that double standard, a man could be the one running around doing all this other stuff. So that's I just would tell all women to understand the decisions that you make. Everyone should understand the decisions that they make.
I remember when Joseph.
I'm not judging.
When Joseph found out Mary was pregnant, he was the whole thing was a problem until the angel came to him and said, "Wait a minute, that baby from the Holy Ghost." That's the only thing calmed him down, because he thought Mary was promiscuous. But when the angel, he went to sleep and the angel came to him and said, "You're making a mistake, because that baby is from the Holy Ghost." So it's important that, don't get me wrong, a man that is running around like that, he has to also consider the importance of that, because it's going to affect him as well.
Yeah, he had to make good decisions
in every way. That doesn't mean I don't like the player concept, because I don't think that makes a man that makes a man a better man to be able to do that. I don't think that. I think that shows lack of discipline, and I understand that from my own life and in a lot of ways I've seen it. It doesn't show that you're brilliant or smart or doing that, because like my mom always said to me, you got 2 sisters, you're the only boy. And if you don't want nobody to be around here treating your sisters any kind of way, well, you need to treat women how you want people to treat your sisters and your mama, because you got a mama. So I don't want to give a man a pass and think that that's okay. I think a man needs to have a proper judgment and be disciplined enough to carry himself in an appropriate way. I don't Abraham, Adam, and these men that I really look up to, Elijah, they weren't promiscuous. They were not men that couldn't control their loins.
And the old saying we used to say, govern yourself accordingly. But we learned.
And especially for a woman. You cannot name a woman in the Bible that was considered Proverbs 18, or that verse in there. You could not name a woman in the Bible that was like that and then made excuses for it. Look, you keep yourself until a man commits himself. That's never going to go away. That's the best alternative. Now, if you're dating out here and you already had sex and the guy talks to you, yeah, you're going to do it like that. But the best, we talk about the most successful is what we see from the times of old. And we need to not come away from that. That's find somebody suitable, and you guys can come together and you guys can respect one another and y'all can make a commitment to raise a family. But don't before that, really be careful. And a woman is never going to tell you that, but look at this girl, Malia Kia, whatever the girl that's now, and she was on the live, and some kids saw her and they recognized her as a porn star. And they was laughing and cutting up and all that. I forget her name, man. She's from the Middle East. She has a Middle Eastern background, but she's a very popular adult film star. And some 9, 10, 11-year-old boys recognized her when she showed up on something, and she was so embarrassed. Now, she's been married 3 or 4 times over 10 years, and she's now giving marital advice. So now, none of us, when we was coming up, wanted to mess with the girl and take the girl serious. That a lot of dudes been saying, hey, she with. We didn't want. Bro, that wasn't finna be our lady.
You want to marry, huh?
It's still that way now, man.
It's
still that way now, man.
Hey, yo, whoa. Yeah,
Yeah.
And I
you can't take that serious.
You can't take no woman serious.
Nah.
That. And now psychologically, as they say, women are not successful. Women that have had all those partners, it's very difficult, almost impossible for them to be content and in a functioning relationship because of what it has done to her psychologically. Like men, we don't care as much psychologically how it affects. I mean, what doesn't affect us the same way, I'll say that, but it affects them and because they are so hard to satisfy anyway. So now you got all these guys done all this here, flipping and slap it up, flip it up, rubbing it down. All this here been popping off.
Old school.
And now you around here trying to get with a regular dude that just been making money and taking care of himself. Now you trying to settle down with him. And them rapper boys and all them boys had one leg this side, the other leg bent over a yacht. All this kind of crazy mess. So be careful of it. We all got daughters. And we talk straight with them. I let my daughter understand that what's important. We have to continue to have families. And you're not going to have the success you want with raising children without 2 people who are dedicated to that child's life. So families are important. So you can't have a family without a husband. He has to choose you to be his wife. You can't choose him and say, marry me. So the most important thing is what they say, the black community is going to die. If we do not, we have been surpassed by the Latin community because they still believe in families. That dude could be picking lemons. His wife still gonna respect him and make his lunch and do his dinner.
She gonna be right out there with him.
She gonna be right out there with him. We got our women get a degree and you ain't about nothing.
Yep.
And that's how it rolls. But look, let's segue into Mental Health Awareness Month.
That's beautiful, right? That's beautiful.
Yeah, let's go into that.
Yeah,
so stay safe out there, people.
Yeah, stay safe and make the right decisions, young ladies, and know that it does follow you. Just a thing I want to throw out there. This month is September, and it is Suicide Awareness. I want to read a flyer that someone sent me in reference to this, and it's on the 28th of this month. the Miami-Dade Association of Black Social Workers, and the Sigma Alpha chapter Omega Psi Phi fraternity will be doing a Zoom call on Thursday, September 28th, and they will be dealing with suicide, the misconception in our community. So make sure that you stay informed and stay in the sense where you can enjoy these different conversations, and maybe one day you'll be able to add, and we can probably take some calls. That's something that we'll talk about. But in the meantime, I'm Frankie D, and of course, you got on my left is Ray, and on the other side and behind the scenes is Rob.
Yo.
This is Chief Hall Podcast. See ya.